Best bites forever.
Hey, what is up, everyone? Today is a very super special episode because today I am celebrating my little girl's 11th birthday and she loves Once Upon a Time. So we are doing a Once Upon a Time party. Obviously it is a costume party and I'm Little Red Riding Hood, which I love her. So anyway, I just wanted to show you some of the cool decorations that we did. I absolutely love them. We did DIY on most things, and I'll also show you my cake fiasco, but I'm standing in front of our awesome apple tree right here. And yeah, let me take you around. Okay, so our first DIY was the heart from Regina's Heart Collection, which is just a red balloon blown up here, and we put an electronic candle in there that flickers, so it kind of gave it like the effect of a beating heart, and then we just propped that open a tiny little bit so that you could see it, you know, inside there, and that's what it looked like on its shelf. The next thing is the magic mirror, and what I did is I painted it black on the background, and then we just put a printout of the face, and I blended it in with black acrylic paint. So there is what that looked like, and that printout was just taped on. It was super, super simple. Here is that apple tree that I was standing in front of before. This is actually a branch off of a lemon tree out of my backyard, and we cut the branch off and let it dry out for a few days, and then I spray painted it with silver spray paint and gave it some gold metallic highlights, and then we hung some Christmas ornaments on it, which are the apples. Of course, we have the poison apple cider there, quote unquote, obviously not poison, and Red Riding Hood's basket is where we had the snacks. So there were chips on one side and Doritos on the other, and that was really, really cute. So that was the snack table as it was set up, and a little shot of the tree there, which I loved. On to the cake, which this is what the cake looks like in the final, so keep that in mind as you're looking at this disaster right here. So what had happened is I decided to try a new recipe, so I tried a new chocolate cake as well as a new buttercream, and the buttercream was just a little bit more moist than I was expecting, and the chocolate cake, when I went to take it out of the pan, broke in half. So you can see, well, not in half, but like a big piece broke off of one side, so you can kind of see the damage that was done over there. I did have it fixed before I went to bed, and it was holding together really nicely. I had kind of like glued it with buttercream, but by the time I woke up, the weight, I guess, from the fondant had just pushed it right back out of place. So when I woke up in the morning 2 hours before time for this party, I was kind of like, I'm just going to be going with this. So basically I woke up to the buttercream being torn almost all the way around, plus this huge kind of slidey part on the cake. I decided to use some black sugar sheets, which is what you just saw me putting on there, to kind of put trees around it in the hopes of hiding it and kind of, you know, just making it look like it's dark and it's foresty and there are trees. And I also sprayed that color mist that you see on the bottom. I used the blue and the black. Again, just kind of hoping to blend in the mistake, because at this point, that was the best I could hope for. Now, obviously, if I were making this cake for a client, I would have been up past midnight, which is where, you know, I went to bed last night, because I was a little bit worried and I would have just went ahead and redone everything. However, this is my daughter's cake and she is awesome, and I knew that she wasn't going to really care one way or the other. She's just happy to get cake. So also, it's when my kids have their birthdays that I kind of take advantage of, you know, that cake making time, and I get to do a little bit of experimenting, and they don't always come out. But what I did decide to do is hand paint some trees around the whole cake. So I got out my Wilton gel color dye, and I went ahead and I started painting the trees. So I have two ramekins going. I have one ramekin that has just a little bit of water along with the gel paint, and then my other ramekin is just pure gel paint. That way I can kind of get the colors, you know, I can go from the light gray to the dark black and get a little bit of depth in the cake. And basically what I was hoping to do here is make the cake look good enough where you didn't notice all the huge giant flaws that it had. I ended up deciding that I did not like the sugar sheets on there. Not that I don't like sugar sheets, but in this case I decided that the hand painting looked better, so I peeled all of those off, and then I just went back over it, and I also sprayed a little bit more color mist just to kind of blend it. Okay, so now I am moving on to my top layer. You can see that I also had a few problems on this one, the same kind of thing with my buttercream. It was just a little bit more moist than I was expecting, so my fondant has a teeny bit of tear, but the even bigger problem is you can see that the cake slid just a little bit during the night. Well, this has been in my refrigerator all night, so it is hardened this way, and my only option would be to cut off the fondant, which I am not going to do. Again, I am just going with it. I'm going to hand paint these trees, and I was really happy with the result. I thought it was kind of creepy and eerie the way that the trees came over, and I'm cool with this. So now I'm going to move on to my cake topper, which I decided to use a real apple. I didn't think that a heavy fondant solid apple on top would really be a good idea. So I scrubbed this apple twice with food safe soap. I used a toothbrush. I used warm water. I did everything I could to get the wax off, and it still didn't entirely come off, but that's okay. I sprayed it down with that color mist spray, which by the way you can get at Michael's or at Walmart, and this is what it ended up looking like. Overall, I ended up really happy with this cake. I mean, I know it definitely has its flaws, but again, I'm not, selling this to a client. I'm making this for my little girl, and I have to tell you that she absolutely loved it, including where the fondant was coming out in the back, because she thought it added a creepiness and that it looked like dirt and that the forest was coming out and spreading. So I thought that was pretty awesome and cool of her, at least to say, even if she didn't really feel that way. I put a ribbon around the bottom to finish it up, and that was it. And I hope that I inspired some DIY for your once upon a time party. Hi again, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in this video, and I hope that you really loved it. I hope that you got some ideas if you are doing your own once upon a time party. And if you haven't already, like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Mwah! Bye!
BackBitesForever.com